What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Atlantic Files, the number one podcast on the number one division in the NBA, brought to you by the Underdog Sports Podcast Network, joined by your host, myself, Alex Fishbein. The rest of my co-hosts here are on a bit of a hiatus, but they'll be back. Don't worry about that. We had to bring this episode to you because obviously there was big news since our last episode. The last episode we recorded was talking about how the Toronto Raptors were actually the quote-unquote front runners to acquire Damian Lillard at the time. However, that's obviously not the case. The Milwaukee Bucks have traded for Damian Lillard. Now, before we get there, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe below, like the video, and hit the bell for more notifications. It lets you know when we go live. We usually go live every Tuesday night with our latest episodes, and usually we sprinkle in some other shorter form content as well. We're also everywhere you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Google, all of those. Please subscribe, rate, review. It helps us greatly. And I just want to give you guys a bit of a heads up. In this episode, I am here to talk to you about Damian Lillard and Jrue Holiday. But the rest of the episode will actually be all of our divisional previews stitched together into one big preview episode before the preseason. Well, the preseason technically has already kicked off. We've had our first preseason game. But before the season really gets underway and everything, we'll put that all together so you don't have to go through the other episodes and listen to them all to hear our preview of everything. But we will still have a little bit of a guess the NBA champion and the playoff situation and things like that on the episode right before the regular season actually starts. So, without further ado, let's talk about Damian Lillard. Now, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see the screen I'm sharing right now. All I'm doing is sharing the actual details of the trade. So, in everything here, the Bucks ultimately receive Damian Lillard. The Trailblazers get DeAndre Ayton from the Suns. Now, it was a 3-team deal for those who don't know by now. Trailblazers receive DeAndre Ayton, Toumani Camara, Jrue Holiday, a 2029 first-round pick from the Bucks, unprotected, and 2 first-round pick swaps with the Bucks in 2028 and 2030. First off, it's really weird saying those years. Those years feel like ages and ages away, but they're really, like, this is the 2023-2024 season. So the first pick swap is only 4 years away, which is very weird. Very weird. Anyway, the Suns receive Grayson Allen, Keon Johnson, Nasir Little, and Yusuf Nurkic. So, obviously, humongous news. Milwaukee, already one of the top seeds in the East as it was. Jrue Holiday, the day before this trade actually took place, he talked about how he would love to retire in Milwaukee, play out the rest of his contract and stay there and, make it his real home and everything like that. And of course, almost any time a player says that kind of thing, they ultimately get traded. It just happens every time. Players should just never say this ever again. They should just say, like, hey, it's cool being in the city, but, it's a business. And then see what happens. And keep your actual feelings for that city to yourself, because the moment you start confessing your love for a city is almost all the time when you get traded. That's just how it goes. So that really sucked. Lauren Holiday, Jrue's wife, also went on social media and talked about how it's just kind of heartbreaking that the Bucks didn't even give him a heads up, which is, I feel like that kind of stuff is some bullshit. Like, you should have the decency to give especially some of your best players, a heads up if they're getting traded. Not even saying, like, that you have to, like, converse with them and ask them if it's okay and things like that. But you should at least have the decency to be like, hey, we're putting you into this trade for Damian Lillard. I'm sure most players would understand if it's for Damian Lillard. Like, yeah, if you're getting traded for, Joe Schmo down the block, it's going to be a very, very upsetting. But for Damian Lillard and everything, I'm pretty sure most players would understand. Most players would get it. And if you just give that heads up, at least they have the chance to prepare to move their entire lives and move their kids and move their wife and things like that. But I guess Milwaukee didn't want to do that. So all in all, I think they're going to remain a top seed. They still retain Brook Lopez and Giannis and Chris Middleton. They still, they have Jay Crowder coming back and seeing what he can really give. They just have the main core outside of obviously Jrue Holiday is still intact with this team, and that's going to ultimately pay dividends when it does come to playoff time. However, the issue is you got a new head coach, brand new head coach. We don't know what kind of offense, what kind of defensive schemes and things we're going to see with the new coach and the new staff and the new tactics. I honestly would have liked to see Coach Bud with Dame and Giannis in them. I think he could probably draw up some really good things for that. Still don't believe that he truly needed to leave for this team to be good again. The team has just had some pretty crappy luck when it comes to injuries and so on and so forth. So, we still don't know if Chris Middleton is going to stay healthy throughout this whole season. That's a huge question mark in and of itself. If you don't have Middleton for a lot of the season again, and if he isn't even close to his level of play that he showed when they did win a championship, you still have an uphill battle at winning a ring. Dame and Giannis are two, top of the top players. I get it. But just those two alone aren't winning you a championship in this day and age. They probably could have won you one, a decade ago, maybe even less. But in this day and age, when a lot of teams have multiple superstars and have really good role players, and on top of that, even have good coaching, that's not the only two pieces that are going to win you a championship. There's going to be a lot more surrounding that you need to add to actually get this team the entire way to the finals. I'm just saying. But I do like the move for Milwaukee. Ultimately, I hate it had to be Jrue to go because I'm a huge Jrue fan. For the Blazers, they at least get DeAndre Ayton, a younger big man to put in there instead of Yusuf Nurkic. We'll see what he looks like with a bit more of an expanded role. Kamara, he can be just a flyer, see how he works out. They turn around and flip Jrue Holiday, which we're about to talk about in a second. They get a first-round pick. They get 2 first-round pick swaps, which are big in the asset department, which they've been wanting this whole time. And, you're betting on 2029 Bucks for this first-round pick, which, honestly, they could be pretty bad. Damian Lillard's getting older. Giannis is getting older. I don't see Giannis's game aging as well as other superstars' games. And they're even, the whole team in general is getting pretty old. Grayson Allen and Kamara were 2 of the younger players. Kamara's on the Suns. What am I talking about? Grayson Allen was one of the younger core members. Pat Connaughton is another one of them, but they kind of lack good young talent. They have a couple possible pieces, but the rest of them are all either almost 30 or over 30. So betting on them being not so great in 2029 and 28 and 30 isn't that bad of a bet if I'm the Blazers. And then the Suns, they just get a lot more role players, a lot more guys they can put around the big super team that they created down there. Grayson Allen will probably get some run off the bench. Keon Johnson is another guy that could see some time here and there. Nasir Little isn't a bad bench player. Yusuf Nurkic will probably slot in as the starting center there, which will give you rebounding, some defense, and just some paint presence when you have him on the floor. And he's a guy that doesn't need the ball all the time, kind of like how with Ayton in offense, he needs the ball in his hands more to really go to work. Whereas Nurkic is going to be working the boards a little bit more, getting his points from putbacks and things like that. And then occasionally you can get him in maybe a little mid-range, maybe a little post work. But Nurkic is a good fit there for the Suns. I think the Suns really won out on this deal, especially because they knew Ayton wasn't happy. He wasn't happy when they matched his offer and didn't allow him to go to the Pacers. Everyone pretty much knew that. And now they get a decent center back in that deal, along with 3 separate role players that can all play different areas of the floor. So I think the Suns really, really had a good return on that. The Bucks, obviously a great return getting Damian Lillard. The Trailblazers, they had a solid return, but it's essentially Ayton in the picks. So let's actually flip the conversation here. Let's talk a little bit about the Jrue Holiday trade, especially because it deals with an Atlantic team. So they get Jrue Holiday in this deal for Damian Lillard, and they flip him almost immediately to the Boston Celtics. And in this deal, they get a little bit younger. The Blazers get Brogdon, Robert Williams III, a 2024 first-round pick, which is actually from the Warriors, and then a 2029 unprotected first-round pick from the Celtics. That pick probably isn't going to be that great. I mean, their team is still quite young, so other than Jrue Holiday now, but they most likely will still be good in 2029. So I don't think that pick is going to be like super high or anything like that. However, the Blazers just maximized the assets they got out of this. They bring in Brogdon, just won a 6th Man of the Year. They bring in Robert Williams, who's a very good defensive and rebounding big man who's still pretty young. They grab 2 more first-round picks, one being this upcoming draft, which probably won't be that high because it's the Warriors, and then 2029, just adding to the war chest there of draft picks and everything like that. And the Celtics, I mean, they win big with Jrue Holiday. Jrue Holiday, to me, is a better version of Marcus Smart. Smart is a little bit better on the defensive end. I mean, obviously winning Defensive Player of the Year and things like that. However, Jrue Holiday is a much better offensive player than Marcus Smart was/is. So I think that greatly upgrades Boston's team. I mean, Brogdon, it seems like they've never really been a big fan of, and then the whole Brogdon getting mad because he was involved in some trade talks and things like that. And then Robert Williams he's been solid for the team, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy enough to really impact the team on every level that they actually want. So there's a bit of you kind of start to have an issue with that after a while. Now, though, I will say the Celtics upgrade the roster bringing in Jrue Holiday, but now I think they also multiply the risk because you're relying on Al Horford, who's over 35, and Kristaps Porzingis, who is notoriously injured. So now that you're relying on those two, it does get a bit murky because you don't know exactly how the season's going to play out in that fashion. Say everyone does stay healthy and you're throwing out a big 4 of Jrue Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Kristaps Porzingis, sign me up. I would love that if I was a Celtics fan as well. I'm not a Celtics fan, obviously, as you can see by the jersey behind me, but I understand the cause for excitement. I mean, I've been a big Jrue Holiday guy ever since the Sixers drafted him. He's been one of the best two-way point guards in the league. And he wasn't really talked about that way. At least it didn't seem like to me in the national light or anything like that until he got to Milwaukee and was seen on bigger stages and things like that. Because with the Sixers, he got his first All-Star game, yes, and then they traded him to kick off the process and tanking and everything to get Nerlens Noel. And then he went to the Pelicans, and he was decent on the Pelicans, but a lot of that was just everyone being upset because Anthony Davis couldn't stay fully healthy. He didn't take the Pelicans to the finals, so everyone just kind of looked at the Pelicans like they weren't really serious, and Jrue Holiday was just a part of the team, so they kind of looked at it in the same way for the most part. Then he goes to Milwaukee and really changes the light on his career and changes the light on how people talked about him for good reason. I mean, I love Jrue Holiday. Jrue is the quintessential, like, true point guard that you want on your team. He can do a little bit of everything. Sure, he has some cold streaks and things like that, but everyone does. And, playing into the rest of his career, it's a guy you easily would love to have, especially with guys like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And now Jaylen Brown getting all that money and still looking shaky with that left hand. At least Jrue Holiday will be able to take some of the heat off of him, play defense on one of the best wings on the opposing team, and at the same time take care of the ball handling responsibilities and be able to also hit shots whenever needed. So Boston, their odds are going to greatly improve getting Holiday. It really only cost them Brogdon was going to contribute, don't get me wrong, but the more important guy to keep there was definitely Derek White if you had to pick between the two. And then Robert Williams, like I said, he's just been off and on hurt so many different times throughout the years that he's been in the league so far. Let's see. The most amount of games he's played in the season is 61, and that was 2 seasons ago. Last year, he only played 35 games. 2 seasons was 61, and then it was 52, 29, 32. Obviously, his rookie year and sophomore year, he wasn't playing as much, so that was part of the reason. But in 5 seasons, he's played a total of 209 games. And if my math is correct, 5 seasons, 405 games. Yeah, my math is correct because I used a calculator. So pretty much like half of possible games is just not a great percentage. So it's just hard to rely on that year in and year out. So ultimately, yeah, I think Jrue is a huge upgrade for this roster. Damian Lillard, a big plus for Milwaukee. Now it's just a matter of Milwaukee's system coming together with their new coach and how the role players are going to step forward. And the biggest question mark is, what does Chris Middleton look like? Does he return to the level that he was when they won a championship? Or is he at this kind of like wishy-washy, maybe he'll have a good game here, maybe he'll have a good game there, but ultimately kind of look hurt all the time kind of form? That remains to be seen. And then, yeah, we know what Boston's system looks like. We know they're usually good at defense. They got another good defender right there. Jrue and Derek White are probably going to be pretty good defensive backcourt. And even if you started Jrue, Derek White, Brown at the 3, Tatum at the 4, and then Porzingis at the 5, that's a pretty crazy lineup as it is. That's a very offensive heavy, but on top of the fact, like, Jrue, White, Brown's defense is decent. Tatum can play some defense when he wants. Porzingis can at least protect the rim and everything. Like, that's solid both ways. So Boston, I can't even say Boston's the one to beat in the East because getting Dame to go with Giannis is ginormous. Obviously the best player Giannis has ever played with in his NBA career. So it's going to be down to those two as the top 2, which isn't a surprise to anybody. But without further ado, I'm going to take you guys over to our preview clips. Now, all of these are from the last, I guess it's 6 episodes because we did a divisional preview each episode for the last 6 weeks. So coming up back to back, whatever, is all of our divisional previews and how we think this coming season is going to go. So happy preseason, everybody. Happy training camp, media day, everything. We'll be back next week, and we will talk about the media days. We'll get Dennis's thoughts on the trade and everything, and we'll talk about probably James Harden yet again because that's still going on. So stay tuned. Here are our divisional previews, and thank you everybody for watching. Make sure you subscribe below. Drop a like if you like the video, if you like what we say and what we do, or just drop a like because you think we're cool. And comment below your thoughts on the trade or your thoughts on any of the divisional previews. Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you next week. Check it out. Did you say Cleveland already?
Yeah.
Detroit?
They're going to suck.
Indiana?
They'll finish second.
I can see that.
So I'm going to go the Cavs. Mm-hmm. I think the Bucks might take a step down because I don't trust them. You know, if the Bucks don't finish 2, they're going to finish 3, but I don't trust them to stay healthy. The Bulls will be lucky to go 500, and the Pistons are going to be playing for ping pong balls again. So, yeah.
Yeah, the Pistons still won't be good. I hope Cade Cunningham finally stays healthy because I just want to see him play.
I know, but please, huh? Don't get me started.
I'm just saying I hope. I'm not saying I think he will.
But here's the thing. All right, I said it like 4 or 5 months ago. I was like, the beginning of the Giannis era in Milwaukee is going to start, and it's going to start this season.
Mm-hmm.
And it's already started because it started when he didn't agree to an extension. And he made it known why he wasn't agreeing to an extension. That team is not in good shape. I mean, you had to bring back Chris Middleton. Yeah, you had to bring back Brook Lopez because you're not going to replace him with anybody better.
Right.
But they're not. That doesn't mean that they're the best fit for your team because they're not.
Oh, yeah. And he specifically talked about how he's a winner. So if there's a situation that's better for him, he's not ruling it out.
Yeah,
he
but
specifically said that.
You know what situation would be better for him is if he actually played better than he has.
If he could develop a consistent jump shot.
Don't say that. Twitter
keyword for the Giannis police. Consistent.
And like I said, there's a difference between effectiveness and efficiency. He's not efficient all the time. Can he give you 40 points? Yeah, absolutely. But is he going to shoot 20 for 58 to get there? Maybe. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like
Tyler says, Dennis is the future.
Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate you. glad to see it.
Yeah.
But is it gonna? Nice I know it really is. We were worried about him there.
I know.
We thought he was laying pipe. That's why he was too good for us. Which I don't blame him because if that was the reason he wasn't around,
he had too many hoes. Didn't have time to watch
different area codes.
Here. Exactly.
But if Giannis, for one, before he starts pointing fingers and everything, he's got to take a long, hard look in the mirror. For one, the guy's never healthy. And I know I say that all the time. Everybody's like, Dennis doesn't think anybody said, well, they're not, for one. But two, Giannis is at the top of the list of guys who are just constantly banged up.
Right.
Back injuries, knee injuries. I mean, the guy didn't play in the playoffs. Knee injury. Back. Both knees. Flip a coin. It depends. You know, you don't know what knee is. Now, that's a guy you're never going to be able to prove is healthy or not because he's appeared on the injury report with every ailment on the planet. So there's no way in hell you're going to be able to determine if he's really healthy or not. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, the thing that worries me about the Bucks the most is how old the team is getting. Like, their top guys from most years of NBA experience to least. 15, the two Lopez brothers. 14 for Jrue Holiday. 11 and 11 for Middleton and Crowder. 10 years in the league for Giannis. And then the only other guys getting minutes would probably be like Connaughton, Portis, I guess now Malik Beasley, and then Grayson Allen. Those guys are at 8.875 for amount of years in the league so far.
But yeah, that's what I was saying though. Like, you have to pay them because you're not going to get somebody else that's better, but they're not exactly really good fit for your team anymore.
Exactly.
You know,
And
I'd rather have Brooke Lopez than Chris Middleton.
right.
I mean,
I
but
mean,
if Chris Middleton could stay healthy, the Bucks are a different team. But he can't.
especially these last few seasons. Ever since they won the finals, he has just barely played.
And
And then
fix your
Jrue
teeth,
Holiday,
Chris.
that too. Jrue Holiday can't do everything, so he's starting to kind of burn out and start to see some wear and tear. Giannis always sees some wear and tear because his main part of his game is just trying to blast through people all the time. And then uh, Brooke Lopez is usually on the healthier side, but
But at
after
least
that,
Brooke Lopez evolved throughout his career.
true. But after that, like what Crowder played 18 games last season?
At about 2 minutes per game.
Yeah. And then on top of that, you have Connaughton, who usually is somewhat healthy. But he is averaging around between like 65 to 68 games a season. And then Bobby Portis is probably like your healthiest guy outside of Brooke Lopez.
So for one, Budenholzer got hung out to dry because it's not his fault.
True.
Even though he's not a great coach, but you know. But the problem is, like I said, Giannis has not. As he gets older, he's going to get significantly worse because his whole game is predicated on just dominating everybody.
Right.
As he gets older and weaker and slower, which is going to happen because he can't beat Father Time, so it's inevitable. It always catches up to you. Unless he figures out how to shoot the ball like Brooke Lopez did later in his career, which is why he's still going.
Even LeBron.
LeBron's gotten a little bit. I mean, LeBron at least is is a good passer. He's decent on the 3-point shot. You know, maybe 32% somewhere. Like that's decent, right? Giannis can't do anything, and he can't even make a free throw.
Right.
That's
once
bad.
his power and athleticism goes, like once he starts reaching like 33, 34, I'm curious to see where his career goes because you're usually not doing all that at that age. LeBron's the only one that's doing that at that age. That's it. We've seen one guy.
I mean, if he's got better over the years, like if he becomes a better free throw, like even Andre Drummond improved at times free throw shooting.
True.
Giannis, you don't get nothing. Like, yeah, he improved, but you still can't trust him to go. Like, he's a liability when it comes to, like, there's times you can't even put him on the floor late in the game because you can't trust him to make a free throw.
Was it the Sixers game, the one where Montrezl Harrell fought him in the ladder that he missed like 20 free throws?
Yeah, that he got banned and wanted to stay. All of a sudden, he never wants to work on his free throw shooting, but all of a sudden that day when old Jim Smith just wanted to go home because he'd been working 12 hours that day, you got an idiot coming over throwing the ladder like a bum.
Exactly.
Jim Smith's like, I just want to go home. I've been working 14 hours, man. I'm exhausted. Now because of you want to sit here and shoot free throws. Now I got to stay here longer. I got to call my wife. I'm going to come home. The fucking ZD's going to have a tinfoil over it.
Gonna have to reheat it, and
Right.
it's never as good reheated.
I missed my granddaughter's dance recital, but that's okay. Giannis wanted to shoot free throws all of a sudden. And he had to pick that time to do his free throws.
That's why Montrezl Harrell's the man of the people.
You know what? Shout out to him because at least somebody stuck up for that guy.
Exactly.
I think Montrezl Harrell could take him.
Oh, for sure.
The guy's a criminal.
Montrezl Harrell is the kind of guy that he's gonna fight dirty or any way he can.
He's probably got a gat. Probably has a gat in his shorts.
I don't know if he's Gilbert Arenas level, but
hey, I'm sure he has access to a gat. Do people say gat anymore?
That's a good question. I haven't heard it said in a long time.
So automatically, because I'm saying it automatically, that means nobody's saying it anymore. Imagine if he was running though and just a gun dropped.
That would be
Awesome.
honestly hilarious.
Be great.
But
John
anyway,
Morant would be back and he'd get all nervous. He'd be like, "That's not mine, I swear."
I swear it was his.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I see Cleveland also winning the division, and the thing with Milwaukee too is they're getting older. It's a brand new coach. We haven't seen Adrian Griffin as a head coach at all.
Apparently that
So
don't matter. Apparently experience doesn't matter anymore though.
I guess. Um, and the Bucks defense wasn't as good as it normally was last year compared to the years prior. So yeah, I don't know. I don't see them winning. I think Cleveland will win the division, especially because Cleveland will have another year of chemistry under their belt and another year of Evan Mobley and Garland getting better. And then I
But
do
is
think the
Jaron Allen
Pacers.
gonna stay there?
True, that's a big if.
But honestly, I
Um,
think they'll be better if they get rid of him.
they definitely could be.
Because I think he's capped out finally.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. But I think the Pacers will definitely challenge the Bucks. I think the Bucks will still come in second and the Pacers in third, but they'll be very close. And then I see the Bulls in fourth and the Pistons in last. The
But
Bulls just
can
need to
we
have a fire sale already and then just get it over with.
well, honestly, like I am really rooting for Lonzo Ball. Like you could say all you
Same.
want about him and stuff, but that's unfortunate. You could tell the guy wants to be out there.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I hope he does get healthy sooner rather than later and we see him on the court at some point soon because the team is better with him on it. So
And Ben Simmons says he's going to be an all-star this year, so look out, people.
that'll be interesting to see. Last season, in case you weren't aware, the Celtics finished in first, the Sixers in second, Knicks in third, Nets in fourth, Raptors in fifth. Almost the whole division was above 500. The Raptors were at exactly 500. Everyone at least made the play-in game, so there was that. The Atlantic Division was a competitive, very competitive division when it came down to it. Right now, when you look at some of the teams in the Atlantic Division, we have. I want to bring up some of the odds here. Let me see if I can find them. Wow, they already have preseason odds up, and they already have odds for the in-season tournament. I didn't think they would already have
I don't
that.
know how I feel about that. We might
The
have to
in-season
dive into
tournament.
that. Yeah, I
Oh,
think I like it.
we'll definitely dive into that. But according to Bovada, the there's odds for the NBA Finals winning division, and the Atlantic Division is plus 300, which is second only to the Pacific Division, who is plus 220. So the Atlantic has some pretty high expectations. I mean, you got the Boston Celtics, who are the championship favorites according to a lot of different pundits, and
Who do they say in the Pacific Division is going to win the NBA title?
I'm assuming the Warriors. I think that's who they have above. Let me see. So yeah, they have. Is Phoenix is in the Pacific, aren't they?
No, they're in the Southwest.
Oh, well then, yeah. This has Golden State as the highest in the
I mean,
Pacific.
scroll over on your thing.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Good thing I'm
No,
here.
yeah,
Here from
Phoenix is the Pacific.
they are.
Yeah.
Well, who's the Southwest? I mean, I knew that. I just, it's getting late
Southwest
here.
Southwest is the dumb one because it's like Memphis, who's all the way on the east, and
Right.
then New Orleans, who's like more east than they are west, and then the Texas teams. So that division is just dumb, but yeah. Anyway, Atlantic Division second. Boston Celtics are really the championship favorites for a lot of people, also for a lot of sports books and everything. How do you think the division is going to shake out?
I think it's going to look exactly the same, except a flip flop the Knicks and the Sixers.
That's
So
what I was gonna say.
we'll just put it to you this way: the Celtics will be, peanut M&Ms, and
You have peanut M&Ms that high?
yeah, oh, yeah, I like peanut M&Ms.
I like some peanut M&Ms, but I don't think that I have them that high.
Wait, who do you got? Who do you have number one then?
Oh no, I'm just saying peanut M&Ms. Like this, I still have the Celtics at number one.
Yeah, I'm saying the Celtics are peanut M&Ms.
To me, they'd be like Twix.
You prefer Twix over peanut M&Ms?
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, for me, I'm saying peanut M&Ms or Boston, which will be number
Okay.
one.
All right.
Um, what is that? Now I'm drawing a blank, but I know I like these. There's the like a sweet. It's like a taffy,
Laffy
and it
Taffy?
has no, it has the mystery. Oh, Airheads. So I'm gonna say the
Oh,
Knicks are
Airheads. Those are good.
Airheads,
Okay. All right.
and then I'm gonna say the Sixers are going to be something along the lines of Milky Way.
Ooh, Milky Ways are
So
good.
they'd be number
Okay.
three. I'm gonna say the Nets are they'll be okay, but they'll probably play along the line of like Snickers, which to me is like take it or leave it. So the,
Okay.
the Nets will probably be like inconsistent. And then the Raptors are going to be like circus peanuts. And I had to make sure I said peanuts because if you say peanuts, like, it makes people think you said penis.
True. True.
And that's not what I'm
Um,
going for, even though I
so
just said it.
I was actually going to say the exact same lineup there. I think the Knicks were going to move up to second. The Sixers take a step back. But um, you know, I can't agree because we have to shake some things up on here. So what I'm going to
I
say
do
is,
like Twix ice cream bars.
ooh, those are good too. I
Yeah.
agree with that. Boston Celtics for me, that I think they're going to finish first. I think they'll be the Twix. I think the Knicks will be in second, and I think they will be the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Okay.
Love me
Do you
some
say
Reese's.
Reese's?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm also the guy that says Reese's Pieces instead of pieces.
Yeah, don't do that.
I don't know. Hey, they're made by Hershey. I've been to Hershey, and I've heard people say Reese's, all right?
Yeah, but have you? I don't know if I've heard PCs.
I've heard it when I was a kid, and I just rolled with it.
I heard a lot of stuff when I was a kid. Dumbass, moron. Doesn't mean I kept it up as an adult.
Or maybe you did. You don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
So the Knicks in second as a Reese's peanut butter cup there. Then the Sixers in third, and I'd have them as Skittles. Like me some Skittles.
Yeah, I completely forgot I left Skittles out there, but I love. And you know what? Can we throw a Starburst in there?
Ooh, Starburst are top notch. We'll say they're Starburst then. We'll say Starburst.
Yeah,
Sixers Starburst there at third. And I'm gonna switch it up here.
but I don't want to associate Starburst with the Sixers because I
Well,
actually
too
like
late now.
Starburst.
I'm gonna say the Raptors in fourth and the Nets in fifth. So the Raptors are going to be. I'd say the Raptors are going to be like a 100 grand bar. They're like the generic bar that's out there all the time, but they're not like the great. It's not one you're seeking out. But it's in your candy bag, you're gonna eat it most likely.
Right, you'll only get one of them in your candy bag, and you'd be like, who
Right.
gave me the 100 grand?
Yeah, like what grandpa still has 100 grand bars in their house?
Right.
And then the Brooklyn.
Paydays can go
Ugh,
for a
fuck
hike.
paydays. That's
Choke to
another
death
one.
on those
That's
things.
an Paydays are another one. Like you're trying to be healthy, but a candy bar at the same time because you're just doing like nuts in there, and it's like
It's like we gotta hit that sweet and salty.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. They're like, I have to have my chocolate. It's
Right.
sweet and salty, and I'm like,
But the only ones that do
we
sweet and
don't
salty
need
well,
both.
the only ones that do sweet and salty well are like the peanut butter cups or the peanut M&Ms, or have you had the pretzel M&Ms?
I mean, come on. What kind of question is
Those
that?
those I think those are my no wait. Peanut butter M&Ms are also good, but I'd put pretzel M&Ms as my favorite M&Ms.
Pretzel M&Ms are pretty damn good.
They're very good.
I've been eating just regular pretzels lately, and people are like, "How can you just eat regular?" I love regular pretzels.
Same. I like pretzels in general are a great snack.
I mean, sure, you almost die when you eat them, but whatever. They're
Right.
so dry, but who cares?
Pretzels honestly are very versatile. You got the pretzels with like the peanut butter inside of them. You got the regular hard pretzels. You got pretzel rods. You got pretzel sticks. You got all the different like pretzel nuggets, and then you got soft pretzels.
Oh, soft pretzels. My God.
That's
I could eat soft pretzels any day of the week.
pretzels are underrated.
And if you never grew up and pretended a pretzel rod was a cigarette, then you're the type of guy I don't want to hang out with.
Honestly, if you say that you'd never done that, you're lying.
Right.
But anyway, Brooklyn Nets. I'm for the sake of being different, I'm putting them in fifth.
But you don't really believe that.
I don't truly believe. I have the same lineup you have, but I just want to be different. So I'm putting Brooklyn in fifth. They're gonna be the peeps.
Okay. But what's the point in saying that you don't believe, like, you want to be different if you don't really believe that, but you just do it anyway? So really, it's the same thing.
I mean, true. I have the same lineup you do with the outcome. I have Boston, Knicks, Sixers, Nets, Raptors.
Okay.
So, yeah. But
Yeah.
I think it's probably another division. Miami in first at 44 and 38, and then it was Atlanta, Washington, Orlando, and then Charlotte. Miami and Atlanta, the only two making the playoffs. I mean, the division has gotten a little bit of a shake-up this offseason. You had people like John Collins get shipped away from Atlanta. You had Jordan Poole join Washington.
Who's going to be an all-star this year?
Oh, for sure. Beal and Porzingis both out of there. Orlando getting better with all of their younger talent. Franz and Banchero both looked very good in the World Cup. I thought they had some great moments. They both look like they've grown a lot from that experience, so that's only going to help Orlando in the long run. And then Charlotte, I mean, it's Charlotte. Hopefully LaMelo Ball can stay healthy. If he doesn't, they're going to stay right where they are. But what do you see with this division?
Well, for one, I think Miami making it all the way to the finals last year was a fluke. I don't think Miami was ever that good. I said it about a million times. Every episode I went back and listened to, and I said Miami, I just said they're not that good. And I believe that they're not that good. It's just the fact that all the teams that they played against weren't playing up to their potential. But the Miami Heat, they're not a good team. They're not going to – I don't think they're going to be a good team at all, even if they get Damian Lillard, because they're at the point now to where they've lost so much. I think I just had a seizure there. Did you see that? But they've lost so much that, they're just not – they're not a team that I could see doing anything. Are they a playoff team? Sure. As long as they have Jimmy Butler healthy and Bam. But other than that, they lost Max Strus, they lost Gabe Vincent. Those were two guys that were dependable that were playing for them. Now they added Thomas Bryant, which kind of addresses their. I think that's going to make a big difference for them because they were very undersized.
Right.
On the flip side, I think Quinn Snyder going to Atlanta because Trae Young started playing much better when Quinn Snyder was around, and I think Quinn Snyder is going to take the Atlanta Hawks to a level to where they could be in at least a semifinal team this season.
Oh, yeah.
If you look at
agree.
their roster, they have Bogdanovich. They have possibly the best backcourt in the NBA, and DeJounte Murray, who underperformed last year. Trae Young underperformed. His shooting percentages weren't that good. If you could get Trae Young at least to be to, because I think last season he shot, 32% from three.
Yeah, around there.
If you get him to a 38, 39, 40% three-point shooter at least, and keep his assist numbers up, and you get DeJounte Murray back to the 2 steals a game guy that he was, and then everybody else kind of falls into place, that's going to be a team that, just based off of those 2 guys being there, and then you add the depth to it. We're still waiting for Onyeka Okongwu's breakout. Who the hell knows what's gonna be going on with the rest of the roster? Bogdanovich, if he's got to stay healthy, but I could certainly see the Hawks having a pretty good season under Quinn Snyder, and then we still have Sadiq Bey, which was a good pickup from Detroit. DeAndre Hunter, he's still developing, but they got a good roster.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some promise there. You got, you got rid of Collins, who was just inconsistent for the money that you gave him. So you get that out of there. They still have the possibility to trade Clint Capella. I mean, they probably could get something decent back for him, because that's a big man that a lot of teams could use too. So there's a lot of wiggle room still with the team, on top of the fact that the roster they already have is solid. There's a couple. So David asked, why do you have your new Ranger shirt on when you have a Nets flag?
I'll tell you a simple reason. That's because it was the first shirt that was there, and the other shirt I was going to wear had an Italian ice stain on it from last night.
That makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Splosion here says, yeah, really looking forward to Barry Sanders.
I don't get it.
I don't either, but
we're gonna Splosion.
Go with it. Yeah, Splosion, welcome to the show, by the way. And Tyler says, Kai Jones situation. Have you seen all the stuff with Kai Jones from Charlotte?
I know who Kai Jones is, but I don't.
I thought you had a confused face. I wasn't sure which part.
No, you said, have you seen all the things with Kai Jones? I don't know what that means.
So Kai Jones is pretty much saying, like, he's guaranteed to, like, have a major role in the team, and he's going to help Charlotte be a much better team because he's so good of a player. And people were commenting saying, like, Mark Williams is going to be the center. Like, you're not even starting. And then he started, like, ripping into Mark Williams, saying, like, show me a time he's ever gone left and, like, dribble and taken a pull-up jumper, or, like, dribbled left and got to the hoop. Like, never. And he's just, like, ripping his teammates to try and make himself look better. So, essentially, he's just being the shittiest teammate out there.
Did he just say this recently?
Yes.
What, like today?
Actually, I think it was within the last couple days. 2 days ago.
It's Kai Jones.
Yeah. It was
I would just get rid of him.
A lot of fans thought he was either drunk or high when he was doing this. It was on like an Instagram live. And
he's probably hanging out with Montrezl Harrell.
And Kai Jones on Twitter said, I was not on drugs or intoxicated. I was enjoying my night in my crib. Y'all are bugging. So if he really was sober, that just makes it worse. I mean, because you're Kai Jones. Mark Williams is starting over you. Mark Williams showed enough to already have a starting role in there, and you're not starting over PJ Washington. Like,
I mean, it's Kai Jones. There's a reason I traded Kai Jones in our fantasy league.
Right. Nobody wants to have Kai Jones on a fantasy league. Tyler here says, I heard he might be the first NBA player to have CTE.
Well, he's got to play to have CTE, and he hasn't even played. He averaged, as a rookie, he averaged 3 minutes a game. Last season, he averaged 12 minutes a game. He averaged 3.4 points and 2.7 rebounds. Kai Jones, you're bugging. Whatever that means.
Davis says, love you, by the way.
I love you too, baby.
And the wise words of Splosion. Well, the thing is, when you get enough
I like
players,
how he put, well, the thing is.
I know. Well, the thing is, when you get enough players, a team is formed. If that team is good, then they can win games. If they win enough games, they go to the playoffs. I mean, wise words. Wise words.
What? So I wonder what that was being said about what?
I'm not sure.
Maybe the division?
Maybe. But yeah, Kai Jones is just not. He
sucks.
At the very most, he's going to play the exact same role he's been playing, which is
he's an idiot.
Essentially nothing.
Probably going to be less.
He's part of the reason why Charlotte sucks.
Well, I don't know about that.
He's part.
There's a lot of reasons Charlotte sucks. I don't know if Kai Jones. Don't give Kai Jones that much credit.
Well, I mean, if you have to play Kai Jones, then your team probably sucks.
I mean, Kai Jones is still a good player. It goes back to what I was saying earlier about him being... He's playing in the league, so obviously he's talented.
I don't mean he actually sucks at basketball. Whenever I say
at an NBA level, he sucks.
Right. When I say an NBA player sucks, I mean in comparison to other NBA players.
Right.
I know he could kill me in basketball, and I hope he could. Because if he can't, then you should not be in the NBA.
I'm sure he could.
Exactly. But I'm just saying in comparison to other NBA players.
I love how we just spent 5 minutes talking about Kai Jones.
I did not think that's where this episode would go.
I mean, the clicks...
Kai Jones MVP season.
The clicks are going to be through the roof. Once we do hashtag Kai Jones...
Oh, yeah. Maybe Kai Jones is watching. I don't know.
He ain't fucking...
He seems to have time on his hands.
If you go to... Can we stop going on Instagram Live? You're a loser if you do that.
I don't understand the people
I don't even know how to do that. I didn't even know that was a thing.
I mean, like, I know how to do it. However...
Loser.
If... I just don't understand the people that just go on Instagram Live and, like, put their phone down, like, while they're eating or just doing something and just talk. Like, what do you have to talk about? Like, why do you have to go on Instagram Live to talk to all these random people when you could just, like, text your friend or FaceTime your friend?
If you told me... If you said, Dennis, I want you to go on Instagram Live right within the next minute or the world is going to end, the world is blowing up. I have no idea how to do any of that stuff. Maybe it's because he's young, but it sounds like a complete waste of my time. I thought Instagram, honestly, I thought Instagram was just for ads for products that are fake and conspiracy theories and chicks with fat asses.
I mean, that's mostly what it's for.
I couldn't tell you anything else that Instagram has to offer. You want to sell me a nonstick pan? I might consider it. You want to show me a chick with a fat ass? I'm going to look at it.
The nonstick pan that I bought from Regis Philbin off of a commercial is one of the best ones I've ever had.
Reg sold a... I'm calling him Reg. Reg sold a pan?
Yeah. That thing was amazing.
Come on and buy my pan. That's my Regis impression.
It was...
I fucking love Regis. What a guy.
I know, right? I forget what the pan is actually called. I just Googled Regis Philbin nonstick pan. I just got a bunch of nonstick.
Now, that guy's an icon. Now, I'd rather spend 5 minutes talking about Regis. Rest his soul.
Exactly. But anyway, yeah, Charlotte's still not going to be good. Even if you get Miles Bridges back, even if you bring in some
Ball
of the
has
rookies.
to stay healthy.
Exactly. That's square one. That's the number one priority is keep LaMelo healthy.
I said it like a year or two ago. I said LaMelo Ball has the potential to be better than Luca, and I still believe that. He just has to stay
Yeah,
healthy.
agreed. Oh, by the way, I wanted to make this point back when we were talking about fantasy football, but when people, all sorts of fantasy football experts and everything were talking about drafting J.K. Dobbins. And for those who don't know, I'm a Ravens fan. I felt like you talking about Anthony Davis and Kawhi Leonard. Because I was like, why would you draft J.K. Dobbins? He's just going to get hurt again. He's been hurt every single year. He doesn't even play more than half the season. And he's just going to he's just going to get hurt. That's what J.K. Dobbins does. And then what happens?
Now
He's out for the season.
Let it be known though, J.K. Dobbins though, when that dude is healthy, that dude is a great fucking running back.
Agreed. And that's what hurts me is because as a Ravens fan, I'm like, I want you to be there to play, especially when it comes to the playoffs.
Hello, we play to win the game.
Exactly. And I know Tyler is feeling really bad because he is one of his keepers in the league that he's in with me was J.K. Dobbins. So
Poor Tyler.
I feel you, Tyler. However, that's why I have never drafted J.K. Dobbins any year for fantasy football.
J.K. Dobbins as a rookie, 134 touches, carries, 805 yards, 9 touchdowns, 6 yards per carry.
Oh, he's a stud.
That is a pretty. That's a pretty good resume right there.
Agreed. Completely agreed. The guy is talented, like no doubt about it.
And I remember this too. As a rookie, he finished out his season, and when we go into the playoffs, he scored a touchdown in 7 straight games as a rookie. 7
insane
in a row. It's
There's
absolutely crazy.
There was a time where I was like, he reminds me of the newer version of Ray Rice because Ray Rice with the Ravens was fucking unstoppable. But he just got hurt every time. And I'm just like, dude.
Happens.
Yeah. He's just the Kawhi Leonard of the NFL.
He's worse than that.
True. I mean, at least Kawhi is playing like 50-some games.
Right, at least you get a couple games out of him.
Tyler says he was about to have 3 touchdowns that game. He probably would have, to be honest. I mean, Justice Hill got the other 2, so probably would have had 3 touchdowns. But anyway, the way I see this division shaking out.
Oh, we're not wrapping up. I'm starving.
Well, we just didn't say how we thought the division was going to end.
Because we talked about Kai Jones the whole time.
So, I'm going to give you 2 predictions because it's based on Damian Lillard. However, Damian Lillard has said that he will go to training camp with any team now. It's not only Miami. Because if you really want to get out of Portland, you can't just say that shit about Miami. You can't. But
he still wants to go to Miami. He's just saying that.
Yeah, so he doesn't get in trouble. Pretty much. But if he does not go to Miami, I see Atlanta in first, Miami in second, Orlando in third, Washington in fourth, Charlotte fifth. If Lillard goes to Miami and they still retain Bam and Jimmy Butler, Miami in first, Atlanta in second, Orlando in third, Washington fourth, Charlotte fifth. And I think Orlando makes the playoffs as well.
I'm going to go Atlanta either scenario.
Okay.
And then I will go Miami. Barely.
Okay.
I still think I think Orlando's going to be better than Washington, but not by much. But I still think Washington's going to be better than people expect them to be. I think Kyle Kuzma is better than, and I think that when you have Jordan Poole and then Tyus Jones, I think that's a pretty damn good starting lineup.
Agreed. I mean, I like I Washington will finally be fun to watch for me. I I have never wanted to watch Washington for the last like 5 years.
Well,
Probably
they don't.
since John Wall was in his prime was the last time I thought Washington was fun to watch.
Well, they don't have Moron there anymore. I'm talking
Exactly.
Moron. Is it Bradley Beal?
Yeah.
And I think Charlotte is. I mean, if you go up and you look at those other teams like Detroit, Indiana, scroll up a little bit there, honey. Can you do that?
Yep.
Yeah, Chicago. I mean, the Nets are going to be lucky. The Nets are going to be a play-in team. The Raptors probably ain't going to do anything. Detroit ain't going to do anything. The Bulls ain't going to do nothing.
Bulls are definitely falling.
But, so there's going to be some. I mean, that Southeast Division. I mean, every team could theoretically make a push at the postseason.
True. I mean, even the Sixers might fall depending on what happens with the whole James Harden trade. So,
I mean, we could solve this right now. Damian Lillard for James Harden. Boom.
I would be beyond excited.
You wouldn't even be able to get through a door. You would be so rock hard at that point.
I wouldn't. Yeah. So I will say I am pretty high on the Orlando Magic this year. Playoffs last year. We had the Kings who came in first at 48 and 34. The Suns in second at 45 and 37. The Clippers in third at 44 and 38. The Warriors in fourth at 44 and 38. The Lakers in fifth at 43 and 39. Now, I see a bit of a shakeup coming. The thing here to me is the Clippers are always going to be a wild card. They're literally always going to be a wild card because their success continually depends on the health of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Every year. And every year, they're not that healthy. So what happens? They have a decent record. They hover around 500. They get a little bit over 500. The playoffs come around and they lose. For the last few seasons. I don't think next year's going to be any different. I let myself get swept up in the Clippers hype train last year. I'm not going to do it this year. Just not going to do it. Even if they do trade for James Harden, I still don't see them doing much. I'm not falling for it. Listen up, Clippers. We're not falling for this shit again. We're just not. Tyler here says Clippers to the finals. Tyler, come on now. Come on. People have been saying Clippers to the finals for like 4 years now. However long Kawhi Leonard's been there, they've been saying Clippers to the finals. And it still hasn't happened. It's not going to happen. I think the Clippers this year finish in fourth. I think they drop a spot. I mean, they almost finished in fourth there. I guess they just had the tiebreaker with the Warriors. But I think the Clippers finish in fourth in the division. I still think the Lakers finish in fifth. However, I still think that the whole division does have winning records, just like they did this past season. I still think there's other teams in the West that are still growing, getting better, but they just won't be like a lot of things will shake out kind of like similarly mathematically. Maybe not the same exact teams, but mathematically it'll shake out to be around the same. So I think that the whole division still ends up having winning records. And I could even see the Clippers maybe getting down to fifth. However, for the sake of making a prediction right now, I see the Clippers in 4th and the Lakers in 5th. I see both LA teams in the bottom 2. I do think Phoenix actually stays in 2nd. Now, I know a lot of people right now, either listening or watching, are probably like, you are absolutely drunk. Phoenix got Kevin Durant. He's going to have a full season with them now. They got Bradley Beal. They still have Booker and Ayton. They went out in free agency and got a bunch of role players and so on and so forth. Excuse me. I still don't see them all staying healthy in a full season. And for those who listen and watch the Atlantic Files, you all know we talk about health a lot. Yeah, the whole adage of the best ability is availability, which usually proves to be true. But it's just the fact that Kevin Durant got another year older. And we've seen him not be too invincible over the last few years. I mean, last year, when he got traded to Phoenix, he slipped on the court in warm-ups and missed like 2 to 3 weeks just from a slip and fall. That sounds like senior citizen stuff. So I'm supposed to believe he's going to be healthy an entire season and make this team win the division in a really tough Western Conference that still has, the Denver Nuggets up there, the reigning champions. In the Southwest, a few teams that have gotten better, and Pelicans could be better than what they are if their team stays healthy. Mavericks should be better. Spurs got a little better. Houston got better. A lot of these other teams in the West also got better. The Suns are not the only one to get better. And on top of that, we're not going to act like Bradley Beal is the pinnacle of health. So there's a lot of ifs. There's a lot of question marks surrounding Phoenix. Too many for me to confidently say they're finishing in 1st. I think Sacramento stays in the 1st spot in the Pacific Division, and the Warriors go up and grab 3rd. Now, the Warriors are a little bit older. They got rid of Jordan Poole. They got rid of, they also got rid of the rift that was happening there this whole time with Draymond and Jordan Poole. But the team itself still missed Wiggins for a while. There was a little bit of Draymond missing. There was a little bit of Steph missing. There was a little bit of Clay missing. There was a little bit of so-and-so and this guy missing and that guy missing. I think that they do move up. I think they go to 3rd. So to me, this division is finishing Sacramento still 1st, Phoenix still 2nd, Warriors 3rd, and you know what? I'm going to say Lakers 4th, Clippers 5th. I see the Clippers coming in 5th. Their defense was the 2nd best of this division. However, their offense was tied for the worst, coincidentally with Phoenix. But Phoenix's offense definitely got better. Their defense actually might not be that great. It says, technically they were the best defense in terms of opponents' points allowed. However, now you lost Mikal Bridges. You lost Chris Paul. You lost a lot of guys that were helping out on defense. And you gained some offensive firepower, don't get me wrong, but you didn't really put together the greatest defensive players ever. So I see their defense taking a hit. The Clippers still dependent on health, like I said. Warriors defense, it will get better. This is one of the lesser of their defenses they've had in the past few seasons. The Lakers defense is okay. I think Sacramento's will get better. Their offense was, top of the league. But, and that's in terms of scoring. They were top of the league, 120 points a game. The defense was, also really bad. If I remember correctly, their defense was like fifth worst or so. I mean, worst by far was San Antonio at 123, giving up 123 a game. That was just piss poor. But I think it does take a step up because now this team, really understands how to play together a little bit more. A couple guys get a little bit older. They really grasp the NBA game a little bit more. They understand the speed of the game, and I think they do improve. They added a few more centers to the team to see who will stick and maybe get some more boards and play some more defense in the reserve roles. They will all around, I think, improve that, and the offense will continue to stay better as long as it's led by De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, and having Malik Monk come off the bench. So I'm still really high on Sacramento. Like I said, I have Sacramento in first, Phoenix in second, Warriors in third, Lakers in fourth, Clippers in fifth. That's how I see this division shaking out. With that being said, like I was saying in the beginning of this episode, it was a pretty short one. They finish in first, Minnesota comes in second, Thunder third, Jazz fourth, Trailblazers fourth. Or fifth, sorry. I can't count today, apparently. So here's the standings on the screen for those watching at home. I mean, to be honest, in terms of my preview for this division, I see it pretty much. I just see the Thunder going up to second, and then the rest of it staying the same. I still see the Nuggets coming in first. Jokic is still the best player in the league. The Thunder are getting a lot better than they used to be. Shea and Giddey are fucking great. Jalen Williams is great. Both Jalen Williams. Chet Holmgren returns. Oklahoma City is going to be a very, very good team. And then the Timberwolves still have Rudy Gobert and Cat somehow trying to play together. I love Anthony Edwards, but the rest of the team is very just eh. The Jazz are still eh. Portland is going to be terrible, especially when they get rid of Dame. So, yeah. It's kind of how I see it.
I'm gonna give you a number right now. Okay. 35.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give you another one, 56.
Okay.
And I'm gonna give you another one, 68. You know what that is?
What?
Those are the amount of games Shea Gilgeous-Alexander has played in each of his last three seasons. 35, 56, 68. The Thunder they have the potential to be a lot better. However, I can't trust Gilgeous-Alexander stay healthy. On the flip side, there is a guy who could stay healthy, and there's a guy who's playing his ass off in the World Cup. His name is Anthony Edwards. That dude is about to take such a leap. It's not even funny. I think the Timberwolves are going to be a lot better than they were last year. Their bench depth, whatever. But I think the fact that Anthony Edwards is so available, Rudy Gobert, I'll give it to him. He's relatively durable. And if Cat could just stay healthy, because we never really saw that team get a chance to gel, to be fair.
True.
Cat was hurt for a huge portion of the season. But when he comes back, he has to realize it's not his team anymore. Anthony Edwards is at a place now to where he's going to get noticed as becoming one of the best players in the NBA. I don't hate the Thunder. I love Chet Holmgren this season. I think he's going to be fantastic. I just don't trust anybody, and even him, he's still unproven in terms of whether he can stay healthy or not. The Thunder need to stay healthy. And I'm talking, and not even Giddey. I'm not even really talking Giddey because Giddey's been hurt enough, and one of the 8 Jalen's, whatever. But Gilgeous-Alexander needs to stay healthy. Chet Holmgren needs to stay healthy. If those two guys stay healthy, doesn't matter who else really gets hurt. They have plenty. They have a pretty deep team that can help them get through. I was going to say weather the storm, no pun intended, but it's all going to come down to that. The Jazz are going to be a lot better. Walker Kessler is looking like that dude right now.
Yeah, he is.
They did get Collins from Atlanta, which is going to be. I think Collins is going to be a lot happier in Utah than he was in Atlanta because finally he's dealt. They've been talking about dealing him the last 3 seasons or so. That
Yeah,
can't be good
seriously.
for anybody's psyche. So he's finally at a place now where he's going to feel wanted. And Lowry Markkinen, he had an all-star year last year. Their biggest question is going to be at the point guard spot. What's going to happen? They're talking about moving Colin Sexton. You hear that? What kind of guy is Colin Sexton going to be? Are we going to get the Cavs version of Colin Sexton, or are we going to get the guy that is just like, whatever? But the Jazz, and even Kelly Olynyk was playing great, in FIBA. So like, I'm not like discounting the Jazz at all.
And Taylor Hendricks, the one draft pick, is supposed to be very good.
Yeah, the Jazz aren't a horrible team.
And
So
Keontae George. I forgot about him too.
yeah, the Jazz aren't a they could be a team. And you want to know something? All 4 of those teams in that division could make the postseason.
True.
And the Blazers, I don't really want to harp on that too much because we've talked about it, but the big question mark, we all know what the big question mark is. I'm not even going to talk about it because I don't want to talk about it. But the longer this goes, I mean, we're approaching September. The offseason started basically when guys could start getting signed and blah, blah, blah at the end of June, at least making verbal agreements and stuff. So we're all the way in September now, and Lillard is still in Portland, which makes me think like there's still a chance that he could still stay in Portland. He seems like a reasonable guy. If Lillard can stay there, and the fact that they got Scoot there now, like actually all 5 of these teams can make the postseason. Because when you look at the other teams around the league, like the Clippers, I'm not really sold on them. But it's going to be a tight race in the West, but it's not because the teams in the Northwest are going to be that horrible. It's just because so many of the other teams, like the Kings, the Suns, the Warriors, they probably will be, they'll be there to knock some teams down a peg.
Yeah, no, I mean I agree with the fact that the Jazz definitely are not just like a walkover team. I still just next season don't see them climbing at much past what they are at this moment, especially because some of the younger guys still have to develop, like Keontae George and Hendricks, and then see what they're going to do. Are they going to keep Jordan Clarkson for that much longer, or are they going to use him as a trade piece to bolster the younger part of the team since he's going to be past 30 if he's not already?
Well, whatever they get for him, though, it's going to be significant because there are teams out there who want to get their hands on him.
For sure, definitely. Any competing team could use Jordan Clarkson.
But I don't know if they want him gone. Like, I don't know.
It doesn't seem like they do right now. It seems like he's a big part of like the team chemistry.
And I think Walker Kessler now is a guy who's going to be a stable contributor, like a double-double guy with a couple blocks every night at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not talking he's going to score you 20 points a game, but I'm telling you he might score 10, 11 points and get you 10, 11 rebounds and swat, 2-3 shots.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I looked over because the door opened and it was the dog just poking his head in.
It's a ghost. It's a ghost of Rudy Gobert in Utah.
Oh, God.
But yeah, the Nuggets too. Like speaking of the Nuggets, they lost Bruce Brown, which is not ideal at all.
Oh yeah,
That's
No,
going to hurt more
that's
than.
a big part for that team. Big part for that team. Um, but the thing is, the way that
And
Denver is still set up, I still think that Denver is more built for success than anyone else in this
well, they
division
have
for sure.
Nikola Jokic, of course they are, and
Yeah,
Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray, like toward the end of the last season, he started to like creep back up to where he was pre knee injury.
right.
So I think he's gonna. I think it's good he took some time off this summer because you don't want to put too many miles on him right now. They lost Bruce Brown. Vlatko Konchar did. He's probably going to miss the entire season with a knee injury, which is unfortunate because he was a guy that was supposed to get a little bit more minutes. Um, Jeff Green's not there anymore. So I mean, Jeff Green's not like he wasn't like a significant contributor, but he's a veteran guy who offers leadership.
For sure.
So it's gonna be interesting to see if like Reggie Jackson could be a guy the player he was like for a couple seasons in Los Angeles. Aaron Gordon is just Aaron Gordon. Michael Porter going to stay healthy because
Yep.
that's always a big question mark. Like you always think like this could be the end of Michael Porter's season. You
And not
know,
just that, but like say he even if he does stay healthy, like he hasn't shown that he has the ability to be what he originally was touted to be. So if he does stay healthy, can he take another step in his development to actually be the player that everyone thought he would be? We've seen flashes of it, but we haven't seen it consistently.
I think it's hard though to be consistent though on that team when you have Jokic doing everything and then Murray doing a lot. It's hard for other people to get involved.
That's true. It definitely is
I
a
mean, when
pick
you
and
look at
choose
guys
your
like
spots kind of thing.
Kyle Kuzma,
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't really doing much. Like he was a good producer, but now that he's in Washington, he's going to be probably a lot more consistent offensively.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean,
Now, I mean,
I know what you mean.
just trying to be cool. Didn't work. Now my allergies are going. I think you're rubbing off on me.
Don't blame it on me.
That didn't sound good, but
You've had a lot of things that have gone.
yeah, whatever. What are you gonna do?
But yeah, no, I see Denver, Thunder, Timberwolves, Jazz, Blazers. That's how I see this division. What do you have them finishing as?
I think that I still think the Timberwolves are better than the Thunder.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go the Nuggets, the Wolves, the Thunder. Um, if Lillard comes back, I'll put the Trailblazers ahead of Utah. If he does it, I'm gonna put Utah ahead of Portland.
Yeah. That's a good distinction. If Dame does stay and does play, then yeah, I have them ahead of Utah as well. But I'm banking on him leaving because
I
at
don't
this
know. I'm not that sure anymore, man.
I mean, it's definitely not like a foregone conclusion like it sounded like it was before, but right now I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I just don't see him staying there for the whole season at least.
Well, I mean, I think if he's gonna go, he's gonna go. Like, I don't see him as a guy who's just gonna play just to want to get traded. I think his heart is always in the right place. He's
True.
a reasonable guy. He's not. He's not like James Harden in any capacity. James Harden doesn't care where he goes as long as he goes somewhere and gets what he wants. I think it honestly hurts Damian Lillard to want to be at this position, and I honestly don't think that he even wants to leave Portland. I think he just may want. He's just trying to make a statement. I think this is him like finally putting his foot down and making Portland think really long and hard about what they're going to be doing because he obviously he wants to win a title, but nothing else
Right.
he's ever done has gotten through to them. So, yeah,
I mean, that's a good point.
yeah, I have a lot of good points.
All right. I mean, we don't have to get that far ahead here.
Yeah, I'm more than just good looks.
Let me bring this up here for those of you watching at home on YouTube. So, last season in the Southwest Division,
Excuse me, I had a
Memphis.
dog problem.
Trust me, I get it. Usually it's my dogs barking and making noise, so I get it. Southwest Division last year, Memphis in first, Pelicans second, Mavericks third, Rockets fourth, Spurs fifth. Memphis was the second overall seed in the playoffs, only to the Nuggets at their 51-31 record. Obviously, then getting upset by the Los Angeles Lakers in the first round. That all went to shit. Pelicans, Zion had baby mama drama. That all went to shit.
Don't blame it on the baby, man. He wasn't healthy again.
I know. But then the Mavericks, who everyone was ranting and raving because Kyrie and Luka Doncic were going to carry them off in the sunset, didn't even make the play-in game. Houston and San Antonio, everyone knows they're both tanking. Houston's not tanking anymore. The Spurs are still kind of tanking. So, anyway, what are your thoughts on the division for this coming season?
I think the Mavericks should be better, and the Rockets should be better.
For sure.
I think the Grizzlies will take a step down, obviously, because they're not going to have John Morant for 25 games.
Yep.
And then when you factor in, he's probably going to get hurt a couple times. So he's probably looking at maybe a 50 game, 45 to 50 game season. Because if what's 82 minus 25? So he's on 60, like 60.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll take 10 games away because he's going to miss 10 games because of an injury. So he'll probably be on the court for 45 to 50 games. And, the Grizzlies, they lost Dylan Brooks. Even though we're not a big fan of Dylan Brooks, it still kind of hurts a little bit.
Especially defensively.
Well, don't do it. Don't do that.
I mean, he is a better defender than he is offensive.
Okay. All right, I'll give you that. But he was a solid starting piece. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Steven Adams, who the hell knows what's going on with him? He missed a lot of last season. He was hurt. We got excuse me. It's good. It's the Grizzlies season will come down to whether Desmond Bane is going to be an all-star caliber player, because everything's going to start and end with him. And as much as Jaren Jackson is a good player, I'm still very suspect on whether he can actually stay healthy. And I honestly don't think he can.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully he does. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, but hasn't been the most reliable in terms of durability over the years. So yeah, and then when you look at Brandon Clark's coming off a torn Achilles. So you're very hobbled coming into the season. You got Derrick Rose. I mean, okay, he's Derrick Rose. I mean, he's not like he's the most he'll give you something, but it's going to come down to Marcus Smart, Desmond Bane, and Jaren Jackson Jr. Keep that team floating until Morant comes back.
Exactly.
And then, but who knows what the hell Morant's going to do between now and then? I mean, is he going to show another gun on another video? You know what I mean?
But also, Jaren Jackson he only has one season played with over 63 games.
That's what I'm saying, dog.
And that wasn't even last season.
Yeah, he's just not. He's not. I mean, he's a good player, obviously, but he's not
Yeah,
healthy. You know how
exactly.
I feel about that.
Yep. Then in the yeah, I don't know. Memphis, I agree. They're definitely taking a step back. I mean, you don't have your best player for the first 25 games right off the bat. And now Marcus Smart has to be integrated into the team in the beginning, but then you have to integrate Marcus Smart again when John Morant comes back because that it will be a difference when that happens because you can put Marcus Smart as the starting point guard and have Bane next to him. But then when Morant comes back, do you start all three?
No, I think Marcus Smart is at his best when he comes off the bench.
Okay.
So I mean, either way, they got to figure that out, and that's not going to be an easy navigation process for any team to go through. When you add a guy like that, you got to there's going to be some things you got to figure out.
Right.
So, but I think the Pelicans to me still have a chance to probably be the best team in that division. Um, CJ McCollum's coming off a couple injuries, tore his labrum, then he did something else I can't remember. Wasn't good.
Right.
But if you look at the way that team is constructed, it's Valanciunas is still a quality center. So is McCollum? Is he going to finally have that like geezer slide to where he's old and he's going to start to regress, or is he going to still be CJ McCollum?
Right.
Of course, the obvious question though in New Orleans is whether Zion's going to stay healthy, and I'm also looking at Brandon Ingram because that guy can't stay healthy either. Undoubtedly, Brandon Ingram's a great player, but his health is always a question.
And
You
he's
know,
playing in the World Cup, so
well, maybe that'll be good for him. I don't know.
maybe. Hopefully. I mean, he's still all in all, Brandon Ingram's still really young. I think he's what, 25, 26.
Yeah, he's still young. I mean, he's got point, but he's got to like eat a little bit more, maybe bulk up a little bit, do something. You know
Right.
what I mean? And then the Pelicans, they got some guys who were on the verge of like good players, not consistent, but Jose Alvarado, Trey Murphy the third, everybody's expecting him to make a leap. Herb Jones, they got Herb Jones back. He's a quality player,
Yep.
not a great player, but is good defensively and good enough. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Najee Marshall's okay. So they have like players who, for one, they got to stay healthy. But then they also got to some of these guys like the Trey Murphys and stuff. They got to keep progressing. And Trey Murphy and Herb Jones, they were good players last year, and so was Jose Alvarado. So they did
Right.
what they needed to do. I'm not knocking those guys at all. They just got to they got to hit another level, and it's not even that much more than what they did last year. They just got to be a little bit. They got to improve a little bit more, which is probably going to happen now that they have another season under their belt. If you want to go to the Mavericks,
I will
um,
just add real quick with the Pelicans. They Dyson Daniels looked decent in summer league, so still have to see
it's summer
his.
league.
I know, but still have to see his growth. They did add Cody Zeller as a backup center now,
No, for
so
real.
just
No, okay, really.
as a backup though,
No,
compared to
yeah,
having Willie Hernan Gomez
I'd rather have Willie.
over Cody Zeller, really?
Probably.
I don't know. Cody Zeller gives you some good hustle and rebounds.
Yeah, okay. so, oh, it's a great moves, New Orleans. It's a great pickup.
Anyway, go ahead. The
Cody
Mavericks.
Zeller's shit hot. All right, you want to stop talking about Cody Zeller?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so we'll move on to the Mavericks. Obviously, a big move the Mavericks made was adding Grant Williams.
Right.
And, Kyrie Irving is back, blah, blah, blah. I still don't know how that's going to work between those two.
True.
And what I mean, those two, I mean Kyrie and Luka. I'm still waiting for that situation to explode because Kyrie's a pain in the ass, and Kyrie was on his best behavior, but now that he's got his money, it's inevitable that he's going to be a pain in the ass again. You know it's going to happen.
Oh, for sure.
Unfortunately for him, Luka is not going to. Luka doesn't put up with any garbage. He's a hothead, and he wants to win. And I highly doubt he's going to put up with any bullshit from Kyrie Irving. I don't think Mark Cuban's going to put up with any bullshit from Kyrie Irving. So yeah, and then Kyrie and Seth Curry are reunited in Dallas. As usual, they got Maxi Kleber and Dwight Powell underneath the basket, which those guys are never going to leave. For some reason, Dallas loves them, but whatever. I mean, they're good. They're reliable. They're okay. You know what I mean? So,
right.
They added Rashad Holmes, which Rashad Holmes I think is going to resurge this year. I think Rashad Holmes is not a bad player. He just didn't fit into the King system. So I could see Holmes getting becoming a stable part of the rotation, to be honest with you.
Right.
Jaden Hardy, everybody likes him. Dante Exum, they dusted him off and brought him back. I still have my doubts that Tim Hardaway is going to be on that roster to end the year. He may be on it to start, but I highly doubt he'll be on it to end it.
Yeah, I don't see him staying longer.
Yeah. So, Derek Jones Jr., Derek Lively the second, added him. So
I really like that draft pick for sure.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, they keep talking about how they need a center all the time, especially one that can protect the rim and be a lob threat. That's exactly what Derek Lively does. So that's nice, but it's going to take... I feel like it takes centers a little longer to really show their true potential in the NBA just because they're not as big as the established centers. Like Derek Lively is pretty small in terms of like his frame and everything. So he just has to put on some weight and then I think he's fine. Just like Jalen Duren when he first got into the league. So
another guy I think is going to have a great year, by the way.
Agreed.
Wrong division, but
Yeah. I've been trying to trade for him in our Dynasty League, but the guy doesn't want to give him up.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know how those people, sometimes these people just don't like to respond to trades, which is annoying, by the way. We're coming up on fantasy football season, okay? And fantasy basketball season too.
Yep.
Check your leagues, okay? Answer trade requests. If you can't check your phone once a day, check the app. Don't do the league.
It's only once a day.
And don't say you're working because every guy is taking a shit at least once a day for 15 minutes. And they're on their phone. Am I lying?
And that's the best time to do a trade.
There's not a better time to do a trade than when you're taking a dump and check your fantasy leagues.
Exactly.
Please. Don't be a moron.
PSA to everybody.
Yeah.
So I think Dallas should do a little bit. Like I think they will get the second seed in this division for this season. The roster still has some question marks. Like I still want to see where a lot of the defense is going to come from. They brought Seth Curry back, but which is nice for their shooting, but we all know Seth Curry can't play a lick of defense.
No, that's not true.
He, especially when it comes to the playoffs, Seth Curry gets attacked relentlessly until he has to be taken off the floor.
Yeah, I know, but
I love Seth. Don't get me wrong, I love Seth.
He's got a brother, I think, doesn't he?
I think some guy.
He's probably not that good though.
Yeah, I don't think he's that great. I really hope Rashawn Holmes does have the resurgence. I also hope JaVale McGee has a resurgence because
he won't.
they brought. Was he was on the team last year, right? Or was he on
Yeah.
a different?
I mean, he was on a team, but he didn't do anything.
No, which was weird to me because he played so well for Phoenix. Like, he was important on that Phoenix team for them getting to the finals.
I mean, in Phoenix defense, they can literally throw anybody in at center. They'll play well, and then they'll just forget about him. They'll just throw. They basically use and abuse them, and then throw their clothes at him and tell him to hit the bricks.
True.
Here's a 50. Here's a paper towel. Here's your clothes. Hit the bricks. They did it to They did it to Bismack Biyombo.
True.
JaVale McGee. They got what they. But JaVale McGee's been poured around all over the league though for years.
No,
Dallas did it. Golden State did it. Lakers did it. He's a whore.
The thing is, though, he can actually
and I mean that
contribute.
With the nicest way possible.
Oh, of course. He can actually contribute on a competitive team, especially off the bench as a center, which is what the Mavericks need: defense and rim running. He can do that easily, both of them. So I don't understand it. I agree with you, though. I don't think Tim Hardaway is going to be on the team much longer. I don't have as much faith in Jaden Hardy that like a lot of people seem to have. I don't think he's going to be like that big of a contributor or anything. Grant Williams was a good move bringing him in. And then outside of that, it's a lot of people that I'm just like, like Maxi Kleber, Dwight Powell, Dante Exum, But I still just, if...
I mean, where are you at, though, in your thought process where you go, you know what? I wonder what Dante Exum is up to these days. You know what I mean? Like, how did that decision come about? Agreed.
I don't get it either.
Like, Dante, you still playing? He's like, nah, man, I work at a car dealership. Like, you want to come play? Yeah, okay, I guess. Can you give me 2 weeks so I got to put my notice in?
As I talked about it, I said that the Mavericks would probably be the second seed, but I talked myself out of it. So I have them probably going to finish in third again. Actually, do I want to go bold prediction here?
Now that you have a mustache, you got to rub your mustache and then think.
Oh, I do it all the time. At work, this is like all I do.
Because it makes you think better.
Exactly. Really locks you in. I think I'm going to go bold prediction here and say... I'm going to say that the Houston Rockets finish with a better record than the Dallas Mavericks next year.
Oh, shut the hell up. Don't do that.
I'm just saying.
Don't do that.
Better coaching. I would already put Ime Udoka ahead of Jason Kidd coaching-wise. The Kyrie Luka thing is going to blow up. The role players around them are all okay. They're not great. They're all okay. Grant Williams is the best role player they have after him. It's all okay. And Houston, all their young guys got another year better. They brought in Amen Thompson. They brought in Fred VanVleet. They brought in Dylan Brooks, who, again, we're not big fans of, but still can contribute as a starter in the league. I think Houston is going to finish with a better record.
They somehow got Cam Whitmore.
Also Cam Whitmore.
Who was going to go out like number 4, but he went at 20.
Exactly.
Don't know how that happened, but whatever.
They also brought in Jock Landale. They also brought in the old man, Jeff Green.
You heard that.
They still have Jabari Smith Jr., Tari Eason, Alperen Sengun, Jayshawn Tate, Kevin Porter Jr., and Jalen Green. I think that they could finish with a better record.
You know what they don't have, though?
Luka Doncic.
Luka Doncic. Correct.
No, that's for sure.
He's a one-man army by himself.
That's true. But if we like last season, Dallas finished 38-44. Houston finished 22-60. So even if they say they tied, that'd be a 16-win improvement by Houston, which I think they could possibly do because the roster definitely got better.
I think Dallas has a better roster than they did last season.
I feel like it stayed around the same.
Okay.
So I don't know. Anyway,
So,
San Antonio's still coming in last. That's a given. I'm excited to watch Wembanyama, but they didn't really add anybody else on the team that's going to make this team that much better. And then
Chetty Osman is not a nobody. All right.
I mean, he's not a nobody.
I will say though, however, Cam Payne was a great pickup.
That was. I agree. I love that pickup. I think that does help their guard rotation a lot, especially because Malachi Branham isn't exactly turning into the guard they hoped that he was.
Devin Vassell can't stay healthy.
That's true too, and I really hope he does because I really like Devin Vassell a lot, and I think if you have that core of like Vassell, Wembanyama, Sochan, I think that's a solid young core right there. And you just get the guys around them like Cam Payne and some more people like that. I think that's a very nice starting spot. But
poor Devontae Graham can't catch a break.
Nah. He's already fallen back to irrelevance.
Yeah.
Really had high hopes for Devontae.
But everybody needs to knock it off with the Wembanyama bullshit.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I think I just get mad. I don't know why I'm mad, but I'm just like, everybody's like ranting and raving. He's going to be an MVP, blah, blah, blah. The dude, I'd be surprised if he played 45 games.
Oh, you think he's not even going to play 50?
All right, I give him 50. That's about it. They're going to baby the hell out of this guy. And he's going to get hurt. I guarantee he's going to get hurt.
If there's any soreness, they'll definitely keep him out.
He's going to get hurt.
Yeah, I mean, of course we don't, like, we hope he stays as healthy as possible, but it's pretty hard when you're that rail skinny when he's
What do you think? We
big.
want him to get hurt? You think the people think that we want somebody to get hurt? No.
I'm just covering our bases, that's all.
I mean, we were talking about girls with cocks, for crying out loud. And it was just, I mean, if we didn't cover that base, I don't think we need to cover this base.
I'm just throwing it out there, that's all.
Okay.
Anyway,
we hope he stays healthy.
Exactly. My final prediction, I'm saying Pelicans first. I'm saying Memphis second, Houston third, Mavericks fourth, Spurs fifth.
I'm going to go Pelicans 1, Mavs 2, Memphis 3, Houston barely 4, and then Spurs way 5. Like way 5. Spurs may be like one of the worst teams in the league this year.
I mean, for sure, I think they will be too. I mean, if they can get another top pick to go along with Wembanyama, then why wouldn't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna take him a while to get acclimated. He's got to eat something. Popovich doesn't care anymore. Popovich
is just there for the ride.
Yeah, he's just like, whatever.
He's so old at this point. He's like, I don't give a fuck. He's at the stains on your shirt. You just go wherever you feel like with the Velcro shoes.
Oh, he looks rough.
Yeah, true. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching another episode of the Atlantic Files, the number one podcast on the number one division in the NBA, brought to you by the Underdog Sports Podcast Network. And we will catch you guys next week. Peace.
Shout out to China.